Sixth grade, we are starting a new project today. We are going to work on a skull drawing for Halloweenish, Day of the Dead type of drawing. And so for you guys at remote learning, there should be a file with this skull that you can print out. It's only half a sheet of paper, all right? So it's not very big. And you will need some type of black construction paper. So if you don't have black construction paper at home, you could do this project with just this picture, but if you do have some darker construction paper, it would be nice because we're going to work with some different values. We'll add a little bit of color as well, but mostly trying to work with black paper and white colored pencils. So you're going to need some colored pencils as well. So let's get started. Okay, so we're not going to necessarily need the pages inside of our sketchbook, but we will use the back for some of our transferring. I've got my printout of the skull, and then I have a little bit larger black piece of paper that we're going to use to transfer our drawing onto. So what we're going to do is we're going to start to come up with a nice design for our skull. And so here are some nice examples of some different skull designs. Now the eyes we already have made for us, but we could do some stuff inside of the eyes. You're going to notice that this is symmetrical, so we try to get a balance. So if there's a line down the middle, whatever is happening on one side, the same thing is happening onto the other side. So we'll get that a little closer there so you can see some of those designs. You could even freeze this or play it back to look at some of those. Don't draw these in here, but you can borrow some of those to help you with your picture, but create your own. All right, so what we're going to do is start to work on our symmetrical design and our balance. So I have one here already done. All right, and so I have taken pretty simple designs, but again, if I divide this skull in half, whatever's happening on this side, the same thing should be happening on that side. So I've got some simple designs. I went around the eye. I could add a whole lot more detail to this, and I could add some more detail in the finished product. Some things like this can be kind of tricky. So, you know, this one is spinning out towards the left. I don't want to make the same looking one on this side because it is symmetrical. It's kind of a mirror balance. I want to make sure that this one is spinning out to the right. It does look a little taller than that one. Just try to get them kind of close. But here I've got 1 dot, 2 dot, 3 dots, 4 dots, you know, things like that. I could go in and add stripes to these. There's a lot of extras that I could put in. And even looking at some of those examples that you could see that, all right? Once we have our drawing in there, then on the back side, you are going to start to fill the back full of pencil, all right? This is a technique we have used probably since you've been in second grade, where we don't have to redraw something. We have our drawing, and I'm just doing the area that is where the skull is at. So I can actually hold this up to the light, and I can look through it, and I can see the areas that I need to go in. I don't have to do this whole paper and make a big mess from there. So I just want to make sure that it's covered. I'm not making it jet black in here, but I want to make sure that it has some nice pencil on it. And then I'm going to take my black paper and I'm going to use this to transfer onto the black paper. Now, I left a little bit of rim around the edge. It depends on what size you've got there, but you do want to make sure that this is fairly centered. And then once you start tracing, all right, so I've got this on here, I'm going to start tracing over all of my lines, my drawing, and the outer part of the skull, all right? Now, we don't want to pick this up midway through because we won't be able to line this up. We want to make sure we do all the tracing before we remove this off of the black paper. But as you are tracing, if you hold it down steady, you can always kind of take a quick glance to make sure you're getting some things. Just hold it down in whatever spot, peel it back and look, and you will be fine, okay? So, we want to make sure everything is traced. If you forget something, I think in my third one that I did, I forgot to do this part here. you can go in and I would just redraw it on here, but it will be difficult for you to probably try to line those eyes up. Now, the one that I did here probably isn't going to show up the greatest. It is not going to be super dark on here, all right? And judging by this, it is tough to see, but I can see where all of my lines are. If you want to make it easier on yourself, sometimes a softer area to do the tracing, we'll leave a little bit of a groove, but really the pencil won't be super dark. But I can go in here and I can see where the nose is at, you know, I can see where the outer part of the skull is at, and all of this stuff is just lightly done. You really don't have to go over it like I'm doing here, all right? As long as you can see it, it will be fine. But you can go over it. Again, I wouldn't push too hard because it will make some little grooves in there. So 6th grade, finish up putting your designs on the white skull, all right? And then once those designs are done, remember then you're gonna put that pencil on the back and then get yourself a black piece of construction paper to get those traced. That's what we're working on for this week, is to get that all traced out. And then next week, we will discuss how to put the color on, do the little shading, let some of the white and black work together. So just make sure you got some colored pencils for next week, and that is what we are going to do, all right? So have a great week, and we'll see you.